So, Animorphs number 8, the Alien. We have 21 chapters for this one, but actually, yes, the alien. It starts with a prologue, so you know where the alien came from. Prologue. Before Earth. Prepare to return to normal space, Captain Nerafir said in Thoughtspeak. I was on the bridge of our dome ship. It was an amazing moment. I'd never been on the bridge before. I'd always been stuck in my quarters or up in the dome. It was an RV on the battle bridge with the full warriors, the princes, and the captain himself. It was because I was Elfangor's little brother, and Arnish like me, a warrior cadet, wouldn't have been on the bridge otherwise, especially not one who once run into the Captain Nerafir so hard he fell over and bruising one of his eye stalks. It was an accident, but still, it's not a good day for lowly cadets to go plowing into great heroes. But everyone loved Elfangor, so they had to tolerate me. That's the story of my life. If I live 200 years, I'll probably still be known as Elfangor's little brother. We came out of Z-space, or Zero Space, a realm of white nothingness back in normal space. Through the monitors something but blackness dotted with stars, and there, just ahead of us no more than half a million miles away, was a small, mostly blue planet. Is that Earth? I asked Elfangor. I didn't realize there was so much water. Can you get old Hoof and Tail and let me get on a planet with you? Axilme, shut up, Elfangor said quickly. Just lay sick and cast a dubious glance at Captain Nerafir. I guess I had been thought speaking a little loudly. He was worried even War Prince Nerafir might have overheard. But I was sure I wasn't that loud. I mean, I didn't really think that... Old Hoof and Tail, eh? And Captain Nerafir said, is that what they call me? Elfangor shot me a poisonous look. I'm sure this Arish didn't mean any disrespect. I think my brother would like to throw me out the nearest airlock right at that moment. Slowly, Nerafir turns two main eyes to me. He was a frightening old Andalite, a great warrior, and a great hero. Elfangor's idol, even. Ah, it's the ruffian, the wild brat who knocked me over. He nodded. Old Hoof and Tail, is it? Well, I kind of like the name. He winked one eye at Elfangor. I suppose we'll have to let him live. But then suddenly, Yerks! We have a Yerk mothership in orbit over the planet, the warrior at the sensor station cried. They're launching fighters. I count 12 Yerk bug fighters in there, a warrior cried. They're on airstep course. They're in firing range in 12 Earth minutes. Captain Nerf turned his face and made us my brother while his stock eyes kept watching the monitors. The humor was gone from his face. Prince Elfangor, it's time. Launch all fighters. But he hadn't waited for L orders. He was already halfway out the door. My tail banged the doorway as I plowed after him. Get to the dome, Axilme, Elfangor said. But I want to fight, I said. I can fly a fighter as well as... Don't argue with me, Axilme. Arnish, do not go into battle. You're not a full warrior yet. Go to the dome. You'll be safer there. I don't want to be safe, I said. But a warrior, even a warrior cadet, has to follow orders. Elfangor is my brother, but he was also my prince. I heard a Thoughtspeak announcements coming from the bridge. Yerk Wegfire is closing fast. We are entering the outer gravitational field of the planet. Elfangor and I came to a pair of drop shafts. Warriors are swimming down, heading for a fire days. I had to go up to reach the dome. The upper drop shaft was empty, and that made me angry. Everyone was fighting but me, and when it was all over, Elfangor would be even more of a big hero, and I would still be... the little brother. The child. Elfangor hesitated for a moment before rushing down. Rushing on. He arched his tail forward. I reached for my own tail, arching up over my back, and we touched blades. You'll have your chance to fight, Axilme, my brother said, and very soon your fire will fly side by side with mine. But not in this battle. Yes, my princess, I'm very stiff and formal, but as he turned near a drop shot, I couldn't let him go thinking I was mad at him. I said, hey Elfangor, go burn some slugs. That's the plan, little brother, he said with a laugh. That's always the plan. And that was the last I saw of him. He disappeared down a drop shaft, and I went upward to the great dome. The dome was the heart of our ship, a vast, round, open plain of grass and trees and running water. From our home planet, all covered by a transparent dome. I was all alone there, the only non-warrior on the great ship, the only one without a battle to fight. I could see the blue planet above me hanging in a black sky. It had a moon, just a dead ball of dust, but the planet looked alive. I could see white clouds swirling, the yellow sun's light sparkling off of vast oceans. The planet was known to be inhabited by a reasonably intelligent species. We had learned a little about them at school. My main eyes would draw the brilliant flares of the engine exhaust their fires lanced toward the onrushing Yerks. I was far from the battle bridge now, beyond the range of Thoughtspeak, and I heard nothing in my head. My ears only heard the sound of a gentle, artificial breeze ruffling the leaves of the trees. I stood in the blue-green grass and watched the tiny pinpoints of light as the battles joined in orbit above the blue planet. And then, I felt it. A tremor that rolled through my mind, a wave of coldness, a premonition, like a waking nightmare. I turned my stock eyes from the battle toward a dead moon of the blue planet, and there I saw it. A black shape against the gray-white light of the moon, a shape like a twisted battle axe. Blade ship, I whispered. A visitor's blade ship. Our fires are all away. Our dome should have massive weapons wheels fast and maneuverable. Too fast. The warriors on Battlebridge had no choice. They had to separate the dome in order to fight, and I felt a grinding, crunching sensation as the dome was released. And then silence as the dome floated free. Slowly the rest of my ship rotated into sight. Without the dome, it looked like a long stick with a huge bulge of the engine on the far end, a smaller bulge of the battle bridge in the middle. They were trying to turn to meet the blade ship, but they were too slow. The ship fired. No! Dracon beams bright as the sun lanced into space. The ship fired again, and again, and there was an explosion of light. A silent explosion like a small sun going nova. The ship, my ship, blew up into its separate atoms. One huge flash, and 100 Andalite warriors died. Woof. The shockwave hit the dome and translated into sound. The grass beneath my hooves slammed up at me, a terrible rattling, shaking, and heaving. Ah! My knees buckled and I fell on the grass. Everything was spinning, wildly and out of control. I could feel the artificial gravity start to weaken. The stabilizers had failed. The dome was falling out of orbit. It slid down the gravity well toward the blue planet. The red-hot glowing atmosphere turned the sky above me to fire. Emergency engines could have went out of whoosh, but they could only slow the descent, not stop it. The dome hurled at shocking speed down toward the atmosphere, down toward the sparkling sea. Crsh! The dome hit water. Boiling, steaming water rushed over the dome and I was sinking beneath the ocean of the blue planet. I was powerless, terrified, and alone. After an eternity, the dome crunched heavily on the ocean floor, and looking up, I could barely see the surface of the water 100 feet or more above the top of the dome. I climbed shakily on my 4 hooves. I was sitting on a vast open plain that was a piece of my planet. A blue-green park hidden deep beneath an alien sea. And there, I waited for weeks. I sent out thought cries to my brother. I knew he would save me, if he still lived. But in the end, it was not Elfangor who found me. It was 5 creatures from this planet. 5 humans, as they call themselves. They were the ones who told me of Elfangor's last minutes of life, that he'd broken law and custom by giving them the power to morph. I was shocked, but tried to hide it. And they had witnessed Elfangor's death. His cold-blooded murder by the Yerk overlord Visser III. Visser III who slaughtered my helpless, wounded brother. The only Yerk to infest and control an Andalite. The one known to all Andalites as the Abomination. The only Andalite controller. He killed Elfangor and I inherited a terrible burden. By Andalite custom, I would be required to avenge my brother. Someday, I would have to kill Visser III. Chapter 1. Earth. Oh, I forgot he has little diary entries as well. The first thing an Andalite may notice by humans is they walk around on only 2 legs. It's very strange to see so many creatures bouncing that way, but despite this, they very seldom fall over. From the Earth Diary of Axilmi Iskaroth Ishtil. And as it says, my full name is Axilmi Iskaroth Ishtil. My human friends call me Axe. I'm a young Andalite. I have 4 legs, 2 arms, and a tail. I am told I look like a cross between a deer, a scorpion, and a human. I have seen deer in the woods. I don't agree. For one thing, they have mouths and I don't. They also only have 2 eyes while I have 4. As for scorpions, I've only seen pictures. There is some resemblance in the tail, and my tail is also curved upward and tipped with a sharp blade. As an Andalite, I have the power to morph. It is not something we were born with, it's a technology, but we invented it and we are the only race in the galaxy that has it. Except for my human friends, that is. They can morph too, but it's thanks to Andalite science. And thanks to the fact my brother broke our laws to give them this power. The one great problem with morphing is a time limit, 2 Earth hours. This is a problem my human friends and I set out on a particular mission. It was a mission that required careful planning and timing, a mission full of risk. We were going to a movie. So here's the deal, Axe, Marco explained. You watch the first hour of the movie, but that's it. We can get you to the mall theater, you watch an hour. Then we have to get you back to the woods to demorph. A movie. Movies are an important part of human culture. I had decided if I was stuck on Earth among these aliens, I should at least learn about them. Maybe I'll never be a big hero like Elfangor was, but I could surely become the biggest expert on humans. Of course, I would have to attend the movie in a morph. I couldn't go in public on my own form. Humans would be terrified, and the controllers, the humans infested by Yerk parasites, would have tried to kill me, which would rather ruin the whole movie experience. I would have to morph and take on a different body, but this particular one was one I'd done several times before, and I didn't expect there to be any issues. We are staying together in the camouflage of the forest where I now live. Prince Jake, Marco, Cassie, Rachel, and Tobias are all there, although Tobias is some distance away. Okay, let's do this, Jake said, making sounds with his mouth to form words. Yeah, he only gets to see the first part of the movie. That's a real shame, but, you know. He glanced at his watch. Rachel, you have the backup plan ready? Where does Max go if he needs to do an emergency demorph? The dressing rooms in Nordstrom's are big and private. Big dressing rooms in the mall. Cassie and I will be posted outside a theater ready to rush in there as an emergency. And Rachel promises not to shop and stop at Junior Miss on the way, Cassie said, grinning. Jake glanced at the sky. Up at the rooftops, a red-tailed hawk flew on a warm breeze. Tobias, Jake yelled. All clear, Tobias called down. I don't see anyone. Tobias is a nothit, a person trapped in a morph. It's what happens when you stay beyond the 2-hour limit. He is a human, but his body is out of a hawk. He has adjusted well to this bizarre new life. He lives in the forest with me. For a long time I expected Tobias to ask me a question that must have haunted him day and night. Whether it would be possible for him to escape his hawk body. But he never did. I guess he's afraid of the answer. So I never did volunteer one. I get the implication that the answer is not a good one. Okay, Jake said, let's do it. I began to morph. The first thing was a slipping, melting, almost sickening feeling as my internal organs began to shift around. There was a scary little jolt as my second and third hearts stopped beating. Okay, take your notes. They have 3 hearts, apparently. I heard a grinding sound inside my body as my spine began to shorten. Actually, now I think about it, they're like centaurs, right? So maybe it makes sense they have multiple hearts because their body is so much longer than the humans is. At least I think that makes sense. Gotta circulate all that blood. Anyway, soon I was in danger of falling my face, my front legs shriveled. My arms grew thicker and stronger, but 2 fingers each hand melted together, leaving me with 5-fingered hands. My shoulders grew wider to support my large arms. My hind legs grew sturdier as more of my weight was shifted onto them. The stalks of my head began to retract, and as they did, my stalk eyes grew dimmer and dimmer like someone turning off the light. Suddenly you're gone, I only had 2 eyes. I dislike that. Having only 2 eyes is very limiting. You can only look in one direction at a time. You can't even look behind you. My spine continued to shorten, and in fact it sucked completely out of my tail, which left as limp as a rope. Then the weak remnants of my tail simply withered away. Grab him, he's gonna fall over, Prince Jake said. He and Marco took hold of me to keep me upright as my front legs disappeared altogether. Hey, clothing, Rachel said, making a face. Clothing, don't forget the morphing suit, Axe. As my body changed, my skin-tight morphing suit also appeared. It is a very difficult trick to be able to morph clothing, and all you can manage is something very tight. Octopi? Ah, thank you, Algae. They have multiple hearts, see? Because they have all those limbs, probably. Are you done? Prince Jake asked me. I considered. I was standing precariously on 2 legs. I had 2 strong arms and 10 strong fingers. I was mostly without fur. My eyes were weak until I able to see anything except what was right in front of me. My hearing was good. My mind was functioning normally. And I had a mouth. Yes, I said using my mouth. Yes. Yes, I am in human morph. I morphed to a human. The DNA came from samples I had long ago acquired from Jake, Cassie, Rachel, and Marco. I would like to have Tobias' DNA, but that's not possible given his situation. My human friends have some differences, but each only have 2 legs, 2 arms, and 2 eyes. They each have 1 mouth. Prince Jake is large and pale in color with brown hair. Cassie is shorter and darker in color with darker brown hair. Marco is also shorter and a medium color with long brown hair. Rachel is taller, paler, and has yellow hair. None of them have any sort of tail, though. This always makes my skin crawl, Marco said, looking at me in a sideways fashion, like the 4 of us are run for a blender. I swear he has my eyes. What's gross is I'll look at him and think, wow, that guy's cute, Rachel said. Now, see someone that looks like Cassie, or worse, like me. What, Rachel in love with her own looks? Marco said, using an inflection of his mouth sounds that humans call sarcasm. They looked troubled. I'm still not sure this is a good idea. The controllers could... Prince Jake interrupted. We're not talking about controllers, Yerks, or visitor-free. We are taking a break. We fought one battle after another. We destroyed the Cadrona. We beat that V-Leak monster of theirs, and now we're taking some well-deserved vacation time. Ask most of my humans, that's what we're doing. Now, you may remember the Cadrona from the last book, but the V-Leak is from a sort of side book called the Megamorphs. I didn't get into that one. I may end up doing that later, but we'll see. Anyway, I was never exactly a great student, but I can imagine my fellow androids would act when they finally rescue me. They'll ask, so Axilmi, what'd you learn about Earth? And I'll have to say, well, not much. The trick would be to learn by humans without letting them learn too much about Andalites. There'd be things I could never tell them. Things that might make them turn against me. We should hit the Yerks again while they're weak, Rachel growled. We know the Yerks won't get a new ground-based Cadrona for another week. They must be starving for that Cadrona raise. We should hit them. Yeerks are a race of parasitic slugs. They live inside the brains of our species. They dominate the host body, making it a controller. There are Harbinger controllers, taxing controllers, more and more humans. Any human you know might be one. There is no way to tell, unless you're an Andalite. I sympathize with Rachel, but I also understood Prince Jake's caution. No warrior can fight all the time. Look, you guys, we hurt the Yeerks, it was a good job, but we also know they have a replacement being set up, so don't assume they're weak. And besides, if they are, they haven't shown it. I expect to see them dying left and right and 4 controllers walking free, but it hasn't happened. Somehow, they maintained. We can't know what's going on to Yeerks, Cassie pointed out. Just because we haven't seen them doesn't mean they haven't suffered. Okay, look, here we are again talking about Yeerks, Jake said impatiently. We just come from a very, very unpleasant battle, and we come very close to ending up dead, and not for the first time, so we are going to relax and be normal. We are going to a movie, and we're going to have fun, and no one, Rachel, is going to look for a fight. Don't you love it when he gets all forceful like that? Margaret said to Cassie. He's just so Schwarzenegger sometimes. Okay, Axe, Jake said, time to get dressed. Prince Jake, I am already wearing this garment, I said, pointing to the thing covering my body. Wearing. Ing. It's an amazing sensation making sounds with your mouth. Actual words while vibrating your throat and positioning your tongue, but some words are better than others. Ing is a wonderful sound to make. Don't call me Prince, Prince Jake said. And of course, you just know from the narration he's just going to keep calling him that. Actually, you're just like an escapee from the ice capades, Marco said. You can't go in public wearing tights and a spandex top, Rachel said. It's a major fashion don't. Here. She handed me a bag, and in it were items or clothing. It took me several minutes for me to dress successfully. There's a lot to remember, and every bit can go on one way. Socks go on feet, but not hands, for example. When I was done, they all stared. Even Tobias flew down to stare. Rachel, this thing going to go to a country club to play polo, Margot said. I knew we shouldn't let you pick. He looks like a bully magnet. Even I want to beat him up. It's a classic look, Rachel said angrily. Like you're Mr. Fashion. A man dresses like Beavis. I think he looks cute, Cassie said. Well, that's the kiss of death, Tobias remarked. It is? Just an expression, Axeman, Tobias said. You'll have fun. Axeman, that's what Tobias calls me sometimes. Come on, Axeman shakes his smile. Let's do this. If anyone tries to beat you up, we'll protect you. Chapter 2. I do not understand the plot of the story, I said. We were in the movie theater and I was, quote-unquote, sitting. This involves bending your body and resting on the fat deposits halfway down the back of your body. Fat deposits. I guess that's what they're for. That was a preview, Axe, Prince Jake said. It's just giving you an idea what the whole movie will be like when it comes out. Yes, I see. Why is the screen flat and two-dimensional? Flatter. Because that's how movies are. Ah. You want some popcorn? Marco asked. He had one of the open boxes they had obtained. He moved it closer. Is it food? Well, sorta, Prince Jake said, but actually you get around food, okay? So remember, don't get carried away. I watched Marco eat some of the popcorn. I did as he did. I stuck my large human fingers in the box. I removed a handful of the food and stuck it in my mouth. I chewed. The texture was rough and strange, and the flavor, it reminded me of a food called pizza, but there was a hint of cigarette butts, which I also enjoy, although Prince Jake told me to never again eat cigarette butts. They are bad for you. I took another handful and I chewed it. Another handful. This is excellent, I cried. It tasted like a week old, Marco said. What are these flavors? What are they called? I don't know. Salt? Grease? Salt, I said, savoring the sound. Salt and grease. Grease. Hey, hold it down, someone's behind me. The movie's starting. Salsa, grease. Axe, don't talk so loud, okay? Here, just take the box, Marco said. He handed me a box of popcorn. I quickly ate the rest of it. Not the box, Marco wailed. You don't eat the box. It tasted of salt and grease, I pointed out. Oh man, is it time to leave yet? Marco asked Prince Jake. Tell me it's time to leave. The movie began. It involved humans and non-humans in uniforms. It was like some sort of spacecraft. What kind of ship is that? It looks like a Harjavian freighter. That's the Enterprise, Prince Jake said. It's not real, it's just made up. Yes, I know. I do know what a real interstellar spacecraft looks like. They looked at each other and both smiled. I quickly became bored of the plot of the movie. For one thing, there was one character who was clearly an Ungrachic female, but the movie called this creature a Klingon. It made no sense. However, by accident, I made a tremendous discovery. There was more popcorn. It was in boxes on the floor. I hadn't seen it in the darkness. There was a half-full box right by my feet. I quickly ate this new popcorn, and then I found something else on the floor, a smaller box. Inside it were 3 small brown globules. I ate the brown globules, and at that moment, it was as if the entire world had stopped spinning. The taste, it was beyond description. Those brown globules like nothing I ever experienced. I felt like my life had changed. I was lifted up out of the world of everyday senses to some new level. More. I wanted more. I dropped on my knees and began to search. I crawled on the floor looking for more. It was easier crawling than walking. At least when I crawled I had 4 legs. Also, humans had coated the floor with sticky substances that made it easier not to slip. Oh no. I'd say it's a good reason good thing he's gonna be changing back there, because whatever he's putting his hands in, I don't think I'd want there. I found no more boxes of globules, but there was a small, twisted plastic envelope, and within that envelope I found a chunk that smelled very similar to the globules. I stuck it in my mouth. Yes, it was the same flavor, that same miraculous heavenly flavor, and yet there were differences too. It was crunchier, and there were other flavors. The floor of the movie theater was full of precious items. I crawled on. I had to squeeze past several seated humans who made loud noises. Hey jerk, what are you doing? Get away from me, you freak. But I could not be distracted. I wanted more of the amazing brown food. More! Yes, success. Another small box. This was half filled with brightly colored pellets. And yet inside each pellet, more of the magic brown food. More! More! I wanted more! There! A young human holding an entire box of the brown globules. But I couldn't just take them. I must have permission first. We must be civilized. I looked up at the floor, from the floor at the human. Please give me your brown globules, I asked. Globules! Uls! Mommy! What do you think you're doing? Our human cried. Mommy wants to take my candy. I heard a more familiar voice, so it was Marco. Where is he, Jake or his axe? I merely wish to enjoy the brown globules, I explained to the screaming child. Suddenly I felt Prince Jake and Marco grab my arms and lifting me off the floor and dragging me away. Globules! I cried. I snatched her a small box holding globules. Sorry, just... Okay. Okay, I am calm. I am calm. I am calm now. They just can't take me anywhere, no. Chapter 3. There are many dangers for an Andalite morph. For one thing, there's a constant danger you will fall off of your 2 legs. The slightest push you could topple over. But worse by far is the danger of taste. Taste is a sense that can drive an Andalite mad, especially involves cinnamon buns or chocolates. From the Earth Diary of Axilmi. By the time Marco and Prince Jake had half dragged out carried me out of the theater, I was calm again. We emerged in a brilliant sunlight area where the vehicles were parked. Okay, I think we learned a lesson here, Prince Jake said. No chocolate for Axe. Chocolate? Chocolate? I said, trying to word. The brown globules are called chocolate. What about the brightly colored pellets? Actually, those are called raisinets. The pellets are M&Ms. Are you under control now, Axe? I couldn't tell if he was angry or amused. Yes, said Shagley. The flavor. It was just so wonderful. Cassie and Rachel emerged from the mall behind me. If they watched curiously, kept their distance. As always, we were careful not to appear as a group. The controllers are everywhere. Suddenly I heard a thought-speak message. Hey you guys, is the movie that bad? It was Tobias on patrol overhead. Of course no one could answer him. Humans use thought speech only in their morph. Since I was in a human body, I too was restricted to spoken language. There's kind of a thing going on, Tobias said. Just around the corner from you, some guy staggering around screaming at the top of his lungs. Cops are coming fast. I'm pretty sure the word Yerk. He's heading your way. Just then I began to hear it too. It was a human shouting in a loud, harsh voice. Over there, Marcus said tersely. A man appeared. He seemed to have difficulty standing up. He leaned against the outer wall of the store and staggered forward. Human stared and moved away. Listen to me! Listen to me! He cried, looking around wildly. They're here! They're here! They're everywhere! The Yerks are here! My human body feels it was jolts of electricity. Humans become very tense when surprised. I could see Prince Jake and Marco have the same reaction. I heard sirens wailing and drawing closer. What do we do? Marco asked. Prince Jake turned quickly back to Rachel and Cassie and made a gesture with his hand. Split up, he said. They're here, the man cried. Ah! He suddenly clapped both hands over his left ear. Got you! Got you! Die! Die! He's a controller, I said. The Yerk's head is dying. Jake met my gaze. I know, he said. Been there. I nodded. Jake had been made into a controller only for a brief time. We've been able to imprison him and starve the Yeerk out. The Yeerks live in the brains of our species every 3 days and must bathe in the Yeerk pool and soak up Cadrona rays. Without those, they will starve and die. The rays are beamed from a device called a Cadrona. Well, actually, it's a Cadrona wave particle generator. The rays are beamed and concentrated to a Yeerk pool where they feed. We had found and destroyed the Earth-based Cadrona. Why is this happening now, Rachel asked? It's been weeks since we destroyed the Cadrona. Nothing ever seemed to happen, so why now? I shrugged my shoulders the way humans would indicate ignorance. I do not know, Rachel. Maybe the Yeerks have reached their limits. It would be a strain to resource shuttle the controllers back and forth to the mothership. Shippa. Maybe something was broken. I didn't think things just broke for you, space people, Margot said. Things break, I said truthfully. Break. Ache. Ache. Well, whatever. Scratch one Yeerk, Margot said harshly. The man was screaming now and yanking at his ear. I could see a slimy tip of the dying Yeerk as it slurred out of his head. Can't we help him? It was Cassie. She and Rachel defied Prince Jake's order to split up. They were with us now as we watched, horrified and transfixed. We have to stay clear of this, Prince Jake said, but maybe it's finally starting. Maybe it's just this one guy, but there may be more. Finally! I expected it to start happening weeks ago. Yeerks are dying, controllers suddenly free and human again. He grinned and it was a savage look. They'll die and the host will be free. At first people think they're nuts, but when they have 10, 20, 50 people all yelling about Yeerks, they don't better cover them up. Not for long. His voice had risen, becoming higher, and the words came out faster. He's obviously excited. Suddenly an ambulance raced up, followed by 2 police cars, all with flashing lights and screaming sirens. Ha, I'm sure some of those cops are controllers, but they can't all be. Jake's right, the truth will get out. This is gonna work. The truth's gonna come out. The replacement control is supposed to be here soon, Rachel pointed out. We've still seen a lot more of this. The Yeerks have found some way to keep this from happening till now. Rachel's a true warrior. She doesn't underestimate her enemies. She was not ready to start talking about victory. But the Yeerks are all very happy. They believed that many Yeerks would die and the host would be free to tell the truth. They believed they had won the war. It made me sad for them because I knew the truth. I knew how the Yeerks operated. And I almost told Prince Jake right then. He had a special reason to be hopeful. His brother Tom is a controller. There's nothing he wants as much as his brother's freedom. But I knew the screaming control of a dying Yeerk was just an oversight. Something had gone wrong with their secret efforts, but I knew there would be no witnesses. I knew what happened to this poor, shouting human. Jake is my prince now, my leader, but if I told him, it would lead to questions. And I could not answer questions, not even the horrible truth behind the law of Sero's kindness. Humans rushed from the ambulance and the police cars. Most, as Marco said, were probably true normal humans. They grabbed a screaming man who was still pulling the Yeerk from his ear. Oh lord, what is that? He's pulling his brains out, one policeman cried in horror. The Yeerks, they're here, the man cried. Die! Die! Get out of me and die! Freedom! The police surrounded the man and hurried him to the ambulance. It was hard to see unless you're expecting it. One of the crewmen drew a small steel cylinder from his pocket and pressed against the back of the man's neck. I can't believe it, Cassie exulted. Maybe this is really going to happen. Maybe they'll realize the truth. They have a real live Yeerk now, Prince Jake said. They can't cover us up forever. Again, I thought telling them the truth that the human was already gone, that the Yeerk slug would crumble to dust, that there'd be no evidence left. But even though these humans are my friends, even though we fought side by side, there were secrets I couldn't tell them. I could not tell them how a race of parasitic slugs come to be a danger to the entire galaxy. I couldn't tell them why the Andalites had to fight the Yeerks, why we had no choice, why we hate them so deeply. We have secrets, we Andalites, and the greatest secret of all is their own guilt. This is great, Prince Jake said, smiling. Yes, I said. Great.